Hey everyone, Pete Calandra here. Today's video is an edited excerpt from one of my film scoring classes. In this class, I go over with the students how to work from a piano sketch and how to develop and orchestrate from that. There are a few other things that come up during the presentation of this material, and that mostly has to do with the level that the students are at. So this might be the first few times that they're actually composing something in a DAW as opposed to working in something like Sibelius, Dorico, Finale, to get them to understand the benefits of creating a score inside of a DAW, how much more expressive you can be. There are a lot of techniques that they have to learn. So there are some presentations concerning that. And also, they are students without big budgets. So some of them are actually using some of what comes with their DAW. And I go over a few techniques as to how to improve the sound quality of those soft synths that come with your DAW. We'll be working on the trailer to a film called Loving Vincent. If you like this video, give a thumbs up. For more content, please subscribe, and to be notified, ring that bell. There'll be timestamps down below. Please leave any comments or questions. Thank you so much for watching, and let's get right into it. One way to work that I find might be helpful for you guys if you're working in a DAW, writing on the piano and then orchestrating. I find that this is a good way for beginners to do this because you don't have so many decisions to make as you're composing. You're just dealing with the piano. I'm going to just play along a little bit with the click track going. So I'm going to start at 0. Give myself 4 beats. So that's one approach. That's one approach. No, I don't like that. Okay, I like that. And you know why I like that? Because it reminds me of a train a little bit, right? And you got a train going across there. So I'm going to play around with that. Okay, so I like a little of that, not all of it. God, my time is horrible. Let me play that again. One more time. Okay, I like the first 2 measures. Let me come in. And I'm going to do a pre-roll, so I'm going to punch in. All right, so some of that's good, some of that's not so good, right? Right, I'm thinking that there's going to be, you know, okay, so I can work from this. Let me tell you something, right? That's the beginning of On My Own from Les Miserables, right? When I heard the composer play that, he was just going, right? The orchestrator got it and he expanded the accompaniment. He added the orchestration, which included composing more material on top of the foundation. And so you get an idea down like this, and that's not the exact thing that the final version can be. That's the foundation. And as you're working, more ideas will come to you that you can quickly and easily add in, like those little high notes there. So let me show you how I would go about doing that. What I want to do right now is I'm just going to clean up the rhythm of this a little bit. I'm not going to quantize completely. I'm just going to do it like 90%. I would take more time and be a little bit more careful with my playing, but I'm like teaching and composing at the same time and, you know, producing a video show here for you guys. So it's a lot for me to keep up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of this. I'm going to make sure I'm in my grid mode so I can be very accurate. I'm going to select all this. And I've got a bunch of pitched percussion, which I think would be really interesting to put this in. So if I copy this, which is Command C, and then merge paste this onto another track. And the reason why I'm merge pasting this in Pro Tools is that when I do that, it automatically names the track the instrument it is. So if I go up to, let's say, the celeste and I just Command V, it still says piano up here, and then I got to fix that. Okay, that's good. And then merge paste this here and merge paste this here. So I've got the same thing in every part, right? I'm not going to be doing that. So let me solo the harp and let me go to the MIDI editor and let me listen to this soloed. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of all these notes here, and then I'm going to select these here, and I'm going to make them louder. So I'm bringing up the velocity right now, right? That might be a bit much. Okay, so now let me go to the celeste, and let me get rid of these in the celeste. And let me get rid of these in the celeste. And now let's see. So the harp and the celeste together. Give me 1 second. Oh, I made a mistake. Oh, Stunad. I apologize. I made a mistake. Let me fix it. Let me go back and do all that again. I had it set for swing instead of for straight notes. All right, so let's very quickly. I mean, I can work through this stuff really quickly because I've been doing this for so long. And I'm just going to. Yeah, that's better. Okay, great. And then let's go to our celeste and we're going to get rid of. And we can get these a little bit nicer. right? And then we've got the marimbas, all these. And let's see, we'll have the marimba on the top. And then we can go to the vibes, and with the vibes we can get rid of all these and all these and these, right? So I've just, I'm orchestrating this, and I can mute the piano. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a duplicate playlist of the piano, and I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to add some piano to that. So let's see, what am I going to do? That might work. Let's try it. One more time. Nope, I'm not liking any of these so far. I like that. Yeah, that last note is not good, so just get rid of it. Okay, so I'm liking that. And now what I can do, I don't think I want something so low for right at the beginning. We have like a nice little groove going, right? And I don't want something on the downbeat. That's not bad. That's just a little editing. Yeah, so. Da-dee-ah, right? Yeah. We might keep that, we might not. But I think that first two bars I really like now at this point. So you see how I expanded upon my sketch. And I actually kind of like going to the piano right there as a change of pace. So you see, I'm not being too concerned with catching everything that's happening. I could do that. What I'm feeling like right now is that I'm waiting. There are enough things that are going to be captured right now. It's more important to get the mood and the feeling correct. I'll make adjustments as I go along with things that I think I should capture. And there are multiple ways to do that. So one thing I have, which is kind of nice, is I've got a cymbal roll. So that might be nice here to transition into the next section. So A, it's too loud, and I have to place this a little bit, right, to get it to swell at the right spot. A little early. And then we'll make that softer. Yeah, so I'm going to move the harp a little bit there and add a complementary part to the piano. I think that's kind of nice. So what I'm doing there, 1, 2, I'm doing a pattern of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The eighth notes are pulsing in the piano in groups of 4, and I'm doing eighth notes, but in groups of 3. So they're playing the same eighth note. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to do it again and play it a little nicer. So I might be making an executive decision coming up. So that first one's a little soft. So let me just edit these and clean these up. So you see, as I'm working, do you ever quantize? I'm quantizing right now as I'm working along. It just depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes if I'm playing a solo piano piece and I'm recording it this way, I don't really quantize it. But right now I'm working really quickly and I don't want to do multiple takes to get the timing right. So I'm just doing quantizing. But I never do 100% quantizing. Never, ever, ever, unless I need something to be completely mechanical. And what I mean by that is I bring this up and I set the strength to be 90, 80, sometimes. And what that does is that moves it 80% closer to perfect. Let's say that this note is here and I quantize it. You see, it moves it closer, but it doesn't make it perfect, right? It's still a little before the grid. And if I do that again, you'll get a little closer, but it's still not right on the grid. So it keeps a lot of the human element to it. I'm going to just have it start a little bit after the grid, though, which is where it was. Okay, so now I've got this stuff, so let's add. Yeah, I'm going to add some bells. Okay, so this is where we're staying. So that I'm not going to quantize because that's fine. And what I want to do here now is I want to have some low notes. So let's, instead of doing that, let's look at our short winds. Yeah, I kind of like just the single notes. So no, I don't want to start at the same time as the bells, though. I want to layer these in. And then right here, what I can do is, I like a little bit of a long line there. So maybe what I'll do is I'll do a low winds. More time with that. Okay, now right here, I'm going to want to change something. You need to add dynamics on long notes. And there's multiple ways to do that depending upon the kind of sample library you have. Now, I have sample libraries where I can affect the volume and the timbre because they're multi-sampled. So in other words, the instruments are sampled at pianissimo, piano, mezzo forte, forte, fortissimo, and every note has all those dynamics on it. And the way that you crossfade between the different dynamic layers and the different volumes is they have it programmed so that the modulation value, the higher the value, right, it brings up the volume, but it also crossfades into the next dynamic layer. And you control that with the mod wheel on your keyboard, which is, it's this guy here. So if I play a note, let's see. So that's one way to do it. This is a nano control, right? It's a cheap piece of gear, but it's very functional because it's got many faders, rotary knobs, and buttons. And I've gone over this before that I'm talking to you. I have my mic mute set to this button here so that if I push this button, right, my mic turns on, which is very helpful. But what I've got these faders, I've got them all programmed to different MIDI CCs. And you could see that I've got them all labeled here. Let me see. Can I get that in focus? Can I get a witness? There we go. The first fader is modulation. The second one is expression. The third one is MIDI volume, breath controller, for Spitfire instruments, vibrato, and release. And then this is CC30, which I forget why I have that programmed. And then these programmed on the top are different things, pan, different microphone positions. And then these are free that I can assign in the software to whatever I want it to be. But you can also do that same thing with just MIDI volume. Right? You don't get the going from soft to loud dynamic performance, but the volume of whatever dynamic you're programmed in goes up and down. Let's say you're working in Pro Tools and you're using Expand 2. Okay, so this is from Expand 2. Now, if I play around with the volume, MIDI volume here, right, it gets louder and softer, but it still has that kind of very bright sound. When instruments are playing softer, what's technically happening to the sound is that you're not hearing as many higher overtones. The instruments they're being excited less because you're playing them softer. So there's not as many higher overtones being produced. I can demonstrate that to you, but first, maybe I should demonstrate that to you. So let me do this. Do the long trumpet. Right, and I'm doing the mod wheel thing over here. Well, I can do it here too. I've got this program for mod wheel. And you can hear as I go up, it gets brighter, not just louder. A frequency meter in there. So with this frequency meter, and I'll zoom in on this so it's easier to see, it's set up like a piano so that left to right is low pitches and then to the right is high pitches. Just like when you're playing the piano, your left hand plays the lower pitches typically and your right hand plays the higher pitches. And then from the bottom to the top is soft to loud, right? Okay, so when I play the trumpet loud, you could see that there's all this activity over here. And as I bring it softer, these sounds, and this down here, this is just room noise. These sounds won't move too much, but some of these sounds up here, the very higher overtones, because each one of these peaks is a different pitch. I'm only playing one note, but each one of those peaks is a different overtone from the fundamental, which is this note here. Right? So every one of these peaks is a different overtone. And as I bring the mod wheel down, you'll see that the higher overtones get softer. Like they all get softer, but these first few you can still hear pretty, there's still a pretty good volume. But everything over here, there's some that's completely disappeared. I'm playing the same pitch. The way that you can simulate that in any DAW, so a lot of the cheaper sample libraries that you might use as a student don't have all that. A way to simulate that is understanding how to use technology. And again, technology is beyond the scope of this class, but I am going to show you some tips, right? So I'm going to leave this open, and this is my trumpet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert something called a low-pass filter. So I'm going to use what I teach in Pro Tools class, EQ3 one band. So again, this is a frequency from left to right, from low to high, and soft to loud. So this right here, there are a couple of different filters, but the two basic ones are low pass and high pass. And they do exactly what the name says they do. A low pass filter allows low frequencies to pass through, and it attenuates the higher frequencies. So when it attenuates, it brings the volume of the higher frequencies down. A high pass filter allows the higher frequencies to pass through, and the lower frequencies get attenuated, or the lower frequencies get their volume brought down. So if we look here, this is a high pass filter, and this is a low pass filter. There's a few other filters in here. And so basically, it's set to 1000 hertz. That's this right here. So it starts the curve a little bit before 1000 hertz or 1K, and then it slopes down. And the angle of the slope is set by this thing called the Q. So right now it's set that every octave above 1K, the volume goes down 12 decibels, right? If I make the slope 6, you see it's much gentler. So every octave, it goes down 6 dB. And, filters, this one goes up to 24 decibels per octave. So we're going to leave it at the 6 decibels per octave, because I think that'll sound more natural. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that note again, and then I'm going to use this knob, and I'm going to sweep through with the low pass filter, and you'll see you'll get a very similar effect to using the mod wheel. Right? So let me try that with 12 dB per octave. So I have the mod wheel completely up. That's the full. Charles, which plugin, which one are you talking about? Is the filter or the frequency analyzer?
The frequency analyzer.
That's from Waves, but there's a free one that you can use from a company called Blue Cat Audio that I recommend. I think I have that in here. Let me see. Yeah, I have this one from Blue Cat. That's free, so you don't have to pay for that. Blue Cat Audio. Yeah, does the same thing. It's even more accurate, it looks like. It's got all this stuff up here. And you can see how that's doing the same thing. So when I'm playing, I've got my hand on the mod wheel. And I'm moving it up and down to sort of in a not completely authentic way, but in a better way than not doing it, simulating the phrasing and the dynamics of a human being. So, you can't be twisting this knob while you're playing, right? So how do you do that? What you do is you automate. You learn how to automate. And the basics to automation, and you'll have to look it up on your DAW. But in Pro Tools, you have, there's multiple ways to automate things. But for an audio plugin, which this is an audio plugin. So what you do is you'll see right here, you have something called Auto. And right below that, you've got this little box. You click on this and a new menu is going to come up. And what we want to automate is the frequency. So we're going to add the frequency here. Hit OK. And then what ends up happening is, let me play something for you on the trumpet. Let me go way, way past where the film is, and I'll play you something. Yeah, could have taken a breath there, but that's okay. Okay, so I've played something in, and I'm going to open up the MIDI editor, and you can see this from this window as well. But and you'll notice here, if you click on, Pro Tools opens up like this, there's a little box down here, right there. If you click on this, it opens up these lane. This is called a lane, right? This is the piano roll editor or the MIDI editor. And this is a lane for all kinds of control functions. Right now, I've got it set for velocity, so it controls the velocity of each note. And the velocity is the speed that a key is depressed. Gets translated into a velocity number from 0 to 126 or 127, depending upon the DAW. And these little sticks here, they're called stalks. Like, not like I'm stalking you, but like a celery stalk, right? And the higher up they are, the higher the velocity. And so, when you pull this up, you can see right here, there's a number, and that tells you the value of the velocity. But if you click on this little box here, it opens up to all these different options for viewing lane. And if you go all the way down to the bottom, it has the EQ31 band, which is our filter frequency, right? So what I can do here is I can use the pencil tool. And with a little work, let's see. Let me also clean up one thing here. I should take a couple of breaths. Okay. And maybe I'll just get softer there. And we'll get really soft. So now we can sort of simulate that. Oh, that's a little too dramatic, right? So we just go back and adjust it. And we have to adjust this too. I'm not sure if I like the shape of that completely, but it's a demonstration, right? You could see how you, by using these tools, make your demos much more expressive. Now, I'm going to lose this, and I'm going to show you how to do this with another way to do this, with Expand. So with Expand 2, you could do the same thing. You could put a low-pass filter in there, but Expand 2 comes with a cutoff filter. And in this case, they've got it set to a low pass. And it has, you can learn MIDI CC. So I'm going to record enable this, which I have. And I'm going to tweak this controller on my control surface here. And then once I tweak that, you'll see that this will start moving. See that? So basically, you click on this, and it said learn MIDI CC, And as long as you're record enabled, you can learn MIDI CC. So like I'm going to play something now with my right hand playing the strings and my left hand playing the fader. And I'm also going to add some release because that helps the transitions. And I'm going to slow the attack down. See, this is why learning synthesis can help you out. Right, so you can add, using these things, and you'll have to, you can draw those in. So in other words, I've got this set to MIDI 2. That's what it's set to. So what I can do is, if I want to draw that in because I don't have a control surface, I can open up legato strings, and there's nothing played in there yet. But if I go down here to the controllers, breath control is there, MIDI 2. That's what I've got it assigned to. You can see that there's a little 2 in parentheses. So what I can do now is, let me play something really quickly for you. Right, and maybe the release is a little bit too long. Okay, so I've played something. I made a note mistake, but I'm not going to worry about that. Let's go back. And what I can do now is I can draw my dynamics. The first thing I'm going to do is make my velocity all even so that I don't have to worry about notes sticking out because they're playing at a different velocity. And I'll just use a line right now, and I'll go down to breath control, and I'll just draw in just for fun, just some dynamics. I don't know if I would like these, but just so you could see what I'm talking about. Let's see what we got going on. Let's get that opened. Okay, so I need to, I'm going to take everything and bring it all down. Right. I'd have to fine tune that, but I think you get the idea of how you can make your stuff much more expressive by just spending a little time doing this. And I do this work constantly when I write. It makes a difference when you're trying to sell your piece to the director. The better it sounds, the less they'll be distracted and they can focus in on what you've actually written. The closer you can get your things to sounding like live players. Gone are the days of John Williams sitting at a piano and banging out a theme for Steven Spielberg and saying, yeah, this is going to be this is going to be that. Those days are over. All right, let's get back to our score here. Let's take a listen. I've forgotten what I've written. So now it's not. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is there's something that changes here. It goes to black and white, right? But where do you want to? Oh, so I also didn't do my dynamics here. So that's, yeah, let's do mod wheel. I could play that in, but. Now, it goes to black and white at around measure 5, beat 4, 480. So I want to analyze this and try to figure out a way to justify changing it a little bit later. So we're still looking at the water right now, right? We were just looking at the water, right? This is a takeoff on one of his paintings. And we go to black and white, but we're still looking at water. And now there's a hand there. And I think that little bell is good to bring that in. And then there's walking. Right there. So that is where I want to have the music change, right? So let's see how I can effectuate that. So I did something like this. Right? So I just moved it back one beat. So that makes an issue because now do I have a measure of 5/4 and then I'm into 4/4? Because a lot of stuff starts interesting. Okay, that's interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a measure of 5/4 and then back to 4/4. So measure 6 is a measure of 5/4. So measure 6, meter, 5/4. And then we're coming right back in at measure 7. We're going back to 4/4. What I could do also is I want to make that right, something there. Boo ba bee. Right? So if I did something like that. And that sort of covers that up. Okay. So I think I want the music to change there. I don't think I want to have this. So what I'm going to do is, but I want to save that. So I'm going to duplicate, right? And I'm going to get rid of that. All right. So that's my first unusual thing is I made a measure of 5/4. So let's see what we've got so far. So it's interesting, right? So I took this little piano piece here and I can reorchestrate that, which it actually kind of sounds kind of cool. No, I don't like that. What if we change the key? up a minor third. So we're in E, A, 1, 2, 3. They're not quite. Nope. Maybe this is a good place for the trumpet to come in. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to want to change there. So interesting. One more time.